Greetings, movie fans, and welcome to the latest episode of the Summer Movie Draft 2025. We'll be dealing with the movies that opened on the weekend of August 1st, which were The Bad Guys 2 and The Naked Gun. And joining me for this particular episode is one of my fellow players from the draft, which is Mitch, who is the gentleman that actually has possession of these movies. Say hi, Mitch.
Hey, movie fans, how's it going?
All right. So, to begin with it, did you happen to see anything recently? I mean, you haven't been on for a while, so what's the most recent thing that you've seen that you'd like to talk to about the audience?
I was able to see Fantastic Four on IMAX last week, which was really
Yes.
good.
Mm-hmm.
And I was quite surprised afterwards. I saw images comparing the IMAX footage and the non-IMAX,
Yeah.
and it is such a big difference. Like there's so
Yep.
much more dedicated to it. And
Yes.
there
Yeah.
was times where I'm like, okay, I could see where they added to it. But near the end, like the third act scenes,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah.
massive. Like, I was
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
surprised.
Yeah.
And this is an aside, I did not have this problem, but read a few Reddit posts of people saying they would see um like the company's logo behind the screen bleed through during Fantastic Four.
Oh, really?
And like on the screens, they were seeing it, but if you look at it, it's apparently it's the shakers for the screen so that there's no bleeding on it. And for
Yeah.
some reason during the third act, it's so light that it was starting to the corporate logos on those machines were bleeding through a bit. Now, I've always seen two or three posts about it. I don't know how prevalent. Maybe these were just some really bad cinemas. But I was just surprised because I've been going to IMAX. You and I have been going to IMAX for
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I went to the IMAX where we went to see Watchmen together, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
think they've
Mm-hmm.
done many upgrades since they installed
No, that
it.
I'm pretty sure that's theater is one of the least like renovated theaters
Yeah.
of them all. So yeah. But then again, also that was I think one of the first ones when they decided to make it into like a bunch of multiplexes. The Mississauga location was I think the
Ooh.
first one to because that was actually an add-on. They actually built an extra sequence to the
Right.
already existing theater to build that theater itself. So it was built from the ground up attached to another theater that was already there.
That
So
makes so much more sense. Like every
yeah.
time I drive by, I always thought it looked kind of weird. That
Yeah,
makes
it's a
sense.
yeah.
It's a growth of essentially.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, those two extra because the other two theaters as well that were added to it when they were added to it were actually THX theaters as well.
Oh.
Prior to that, it was Dolby at best. We're
Yeah.
also talking like almost
Well,
a
we saw Watchmen
decade and a half.
15
Well,
years
yeah,
ago.
exactly. Yeah, I was about to say that. So that goes even further than that. Like probably
Yeah.
about 2 decades ago when that was. No, it would have to be even more because when I was at that particular theater for the lineup to get my tickets to see the Phantom Menace, the IMAX theater was already there, so it's even older than that.
God
So
damn.
do your math that way,
That
people.
was
So yeah,
99?
yeah, that
Yeah.
was 99. Yeah, exactly.
Jeez.
Yeah. So
Um,
anyways,
thank you, fans, for walking down Mississauga History Lane. Like, that's still really cool. I did not realize, like, it makes sense in hindsight, but that was kind of a neat little
Mhm.
thing for me to learn.
I myself went to see both of these Mitch's movies today. I went to actually to see The Bad Guys 2 and The Naked Gun. Had a
Nice.
great time with both of them. The Naked Gun is a very loving, I
Homage.
wouldn't say it, yes, an homage, a loving homage, but it does carry on. It is a legacy sequel.
Okay.
It does have a great feel. It has a couple of, oh, you know how this joke is going to be set up because
Yeah.
that's the way those jokes go. But again, they do everything that the original one does. There's a lot of great wordplay. There's a lot of physical
Hmm.
humor. There's a lot of background stuff. So yeah, and they have your main actors doing the deadpan and then sometimes realizing how goofy the situation is and all that sort of
Yeah,
thing, which is fantastic. It was obviously an older audience that went to see The
of
Naked Gun
course.
first thing at noon. Theater wasn't completely full, but everyone was laughing at the right jokes and all that at the
Okay,
jokes at
good.
the same time and whatnot. I think I laughed out at a couple more jokes. There's a couple like the movie has its own running jokes and all that sort of thing,
Yeah.
which is hilarious. And when people realize it by the third time, it gets funnier and funnier the more it
Yeah.
happens. There is a legacy joke that gets played out, and I think I was the only one that kind of cheered when it happened and all that sort of thing.
Okay.
But not to spoil it and all that sort of thing,
Yeah.
but it's all that. But yeah, it
I
was so fun. And then The Bad Guys 2 is again, these two movies were not in big theaters for the theater the 24 screen theater that I went to. Obviously, because you still got your Superman, you still got your Fantastic
mhm.
Four, you still got whatever taking multiple screens still. So unfortunately, these were in
Yeah.
smaller. But this was friggin' except for maybe the front two rows, The Bad Guys 2 was jam-packed with families, which
Nice.
was expected on opening weekend as well. We also had our holiday Monday here, so even better because I mean
Yep.
it's still August, it doesn't really matter, but because of being the holiday, all the parents could be off and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it was
It,
great to experience a family movie just surrounded by families, and you could
yeah.
hear all the kids laughing at all the right points and all that sort of thing. Even I had a family sitting directly next to me, and the father was next to me and all that sort of thing, and there was a couple of, you know, jokes for the adults in the audience that the
Yes, of
two of
course.
us were really enjoying and all that sort of thing. And it's good to see that the biggest laugh of all was two very prominent fart jokes.
Of course. They
So
always
yeah,
doesn't laugh at a good fart joke.
exactly, exactly. But you it definitely tickled these kids in the theater and all that sort of thing. So yeah.
I also did see Superman previous week, and I really
Hmm.
enjoyed it. And
Yes.
it hit really well. I didn't. I had low expectations going in for both superhero films, and I enjoyed both
Okay.
coming out of it. So
That's an excellent way to have it done. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly, exactly. Yeah. I love the fact that these two movies, these two like established
yeah.
like comic book stories did not begin off with an origin story and all that
Thank
sort of thing.
God.
But the movies also did give you clues to the origin,
Yep.
and you weren't slapped into like this is how it happened at the very beginning and all that sort of thing. So yeah, it was really well done.
I can't remember who quoted this, but they're talking about all the superhero movies, and you don't need to see Ben Parker die. You don't need to
Yep.
see the
Yep.
Waynes in Murder Alley.
Yep.
We all get it. So
Yes, exactly.
how they worked in Fantastic Four was so good with like the
Hmm.
talk shows and how we're
Yeah.
being thrown into an established universe felt
Hmm.
right.
Yeah, yeah,
And
exactly.
the theme tune, the ba ba ba, I can't do it, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it kept popping in my head after the movie.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
I do find it kind of strange how, if you look at the numbers, the first movie to come out was Superman, and
Yeah.
according to its story at the very beginning, everything happens in threes. So it's basically 3 years ago when Superman himself made himself known from the point that we're watching the movie, right?
Okay.
Fantastic Four, it's four
4 years.
years from that point and all that sort of thing. So it's kind of
Yeah.
weird how both movies filmed at completely different times, sort of kind
Yeah.
of parallel each other and are out a week apart from each other.
Yeah, weird numerology going on. We're
Yeah,
gonna start
exactly, exactly,
counting
yeah.
how many animals are in the bad guys, and we'll find out there's five
Exactly,
gorillas or
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
something.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, so we're just going to get into the game, and part of the reason we play this game is to see who wins each individual weekend, because that's some chance for some of us to actually get a little bit of satisfaction out of this game. So what we're just going to run through is just the weekend box office domestic, which is all the money that was made for the North American audience and all that sort of thing. So for the weekend of August 1st. The number one movie, without a doubt, was Fantastic Four, which came out with $40 million. In number two was The Bad Guys 2, which got $22.2 million. Third place was The Naked Gun with $17 million. Superman is in fourth place with 13.9 million. Jurassic Park Rebirth at fifth with 8.7. Sixth place is the newly released Together with $6.8 million. In seventh place was F1 the movie with $4.1 million. Eighth was I Know What You Did Last Summer with $2.6 million. The Smurfs is in number nine with $1.7 million. And How to Train Your Dragons rounds out the top 10 with $1.3 million. So Mitch has a few movies on his list there still being strong. How to Train Your Dragons being one of them.
I'm quite
Um,
happy. I knew I wasn't going to get any of the big winners, so I'm going for
Hmm.
like long-lasting ones. They're going to be
You,
consistent.
yeah, exactly. You definitely have that involved with your selections and all that sort of thing. While some of us just randomly decided, hey, let's get a lot of bunch in early and then see what goes, and then sort of have it blow up in their face. But more on
I,
that later.
I'm still hoping for Hurry Up Tomorrow to come back and maybe during award season they might re-release it. We
But
don't
that's going to
know.
be outside of our game. So,
Damn.
yeah. All right. So, the real reason we're here is to get the culmination from the whole entire summer blockbuster movies and all that sort of thing. Well, summer releases. Not everything's going to be a blockbuster. You have a very limited amount that are actually blockbusters. And from the numbers, you'll be able to tell which ones those are. But the movies that are going to be eligible for this game are the movies that got released from the beginning of May and go to the end of September. And basically the culmination of the box office for whoever who ended up winning those for part of their roster. That becomes their total. So we're just going to run through the actual worldwide box office, which is the big numbers that we all like to play with and all that sort of thing to give it away. And the list we are currently dealing with has a top 200 list within that, and we're just going to play with those numbers there. So out of all the movies that were released so far out of the year 2025, the number two top box office currently is Lilo and Stitch with $1,019,000,000. So
Damn.
it's so far it's the only movie in our game to reach the $1 billion list. There are only one other movie so far that has reached the $1 billion mark, which is obviously the number one movie, which we'll get to that in a little bit. Number four is Jurassic World Rebirth with $766 million. Fifth place is How to Train Your Dragons with $618.3 million.
Hey.
Now, still going strong is the sixth place Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, which opened at the same time as Lilo and Stitch with $594.2 million. Seventh place is Superman with $551.2 million. Eighth place is F1 the movie with $545.9 million. 10th place is Thunderbolts with $382.4 million. 11th place is The Fantastic Four First Steps with $368.7 million. 13th place is the aptly numbered Final Destination Bloodlines with $285.3 million. However, a little caveat to that is actually it is the same amount that it had made in the previous week, meaning Final Destination Bloodlines is no longer in the theaters making any money. Now, we did run into this a little earlier in the game where there was a little bit of a calculated mistake in another movie that we thought had no longer was making money, came back and still started making money, so we dealt with that. But unfortunately, Bloodlines is not the first movie on our list this week that reach that sort of situation. But again, we'll keep it just in case someone releases it or it gets a secondary screening and all that. Technically, that still does go towards any sort of box office, but so we'll keep an eye on some of them. So after that is in 15th place is 28 Years Later with $150.3 million. We then have 18th place Elio with $139.1 million. 20th place is From the World of John Wick Ballerina with $132.2 million. 21st place is Karate Kid Legends with $105.9 million. And unfortunately, again, like Bloodlines, it's the exact same amount money from last week, so we're thinking pulled out of the theaters, currently not making any money. But again, just keep an eye on it just in case. All right, so after that, we have 25th place, which is Smurfs with $89.7 million. Now, of course, these numbers are going to be dropping much smaller and all that sort of thing the further we go. And so in 30th place is Materialists with 62.4. 31st place is I Know What You Did Last Summer with $58.6 million. Entering at 38th place is The Bad Guys 2 with $44.5 million as its worldwide opening weekend. And then we got in 41st place is Mathregan 2.0 with $39 million. At 42nd place, The Phoenician Scheme with 38.7. And entering the Top 200 at 50th place is The Naked Gun with $28.5 million worldwide. 51st place is Bring Her Back with $27.5 million. 94th place is Clown in a Cornfield with 10.7. And again, like the previous mentioned Bloodlines and Legends, it's also the same amount from previous week. And as Mitch is going to be sadly hearing, at 108th place is Hurry Up Tomorrow with a $7.7 million. Again, no advancement from last week.
It's all rigged.
It's 135th place is Dangerous Animals with $5.5 million. At 139th place, Shadow Force with $5.3 million. In 159th place is Fight or Flight with 4.2. Again, the same fate as the previous week. And then we have, still surprisingly, The Ritual, still kind of making money, at 96th place with $3.2 million. And the only movie in our whole entire list that is no longer on the 200 top 200, but also is no longer making any money is The Surfer with $2 million. So as you might have heard, as I had mentioned, there is another movie out there that has made $1 billion this year. So surprise to no one who's been listening along with this game and all that sort of thing. It is actually the animated feature of Nizang 2, which itself is currently, with its worldwide box office of being open since January 25th of this year, it's at $1,899,000,000. Now, in August, I believe there is going to be a re-release to North American audiences with an actual dubbed version of the movie, which will add to the box office. And the other movie in the top 200 that I think everyone in this game is rooting for, while it is now on video on demand, it is still in theater, still raking in money, and that's Sinners, which currently is sitting in 12th place with $365.8 million. So it's the little movie that I think everyone is like rooting for to be as successful as it can for as small as the movie was to begin with. So yeah.
Whenever we see like new stories being made, we always want to see it doing well. It's just,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, so that's going to bring us to our current running totals. Now, of course, we take whatever box office is currently owned by all of our players and all that. We add it all up and we just throw it into this list and keep a running total of the game, just to keep everyone on point. So we have a little bit of a switch around this way, but this week it's in the bottom, guys. So last week, whereas Candice, who was in 5th place last week, drops down to 6th place this week with 5 movies, is sitting at a running total of $394.2 million. From last week's 6th place to this week's 5th place is Dan with 3 movies. Has got a running total of $480.2 million. I myself still stay at the 4th place position with 7 movies with a running total of $525.7 million. 3rd place, matching again last week's 3rd place, is Mitch with 7 movies. His running total currently is $1,516.2 million. Natasha again, still in 2nd place, still with just 2 movies, has a running total of $1,570.8 million. And again, number 1 with 4 movies is Ahmed with a current running total of $1,600.2 million. So there we go.
Okay. So
So again,
I'm less than 100 million behind them, right?
you are
Then
yes
what?
you are. Yeah, you're about like 84 million behind him and all that sort of thing, which is actually kind of close between the three of you.
Yeah, I was
Um
surprised because I'm third place and I'm only 100. I'm saying only a
yeah.
100 million behind, and I'm like, okay, that's doable with a couple good few weeks. Like,
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly. There's not a lot of huge titles still coming out, but there's still a lot of titles coming out. So you never know.
yeah,
I like nickel and dimes might be the difference between first, second, and third.
yeah.
Um, I highly doubt that myself and Candace are going to get out of the bottom three. I think it's going to be a fight for who comes in fourth place is what's going to be that. I can see Dan maybe because of him having Fantastic Four
Yeah.
might be able to creep up a little because I don't think there's anything huge out there for the rest of the summer that might interfere with that type of movie is what I'm saying. There
Oh,
are
for
some other
sure.
titles out there, but I don't think a Fantastic Four is going to be trumped by anything from
No.
what's remaining and all that sort of thing. So, speaking of that, that brings us to what's going to come out next week. So, this upcoming week, we actually have a split release. On the Wednesday, which is August 6th, we have the movie Sketch coming out, which is Natasha's favorite pick out of her choices, which her third and final movie comes out. And on the actually the weekend of August 8th is going to be Freakier Friday and Weapons, both of which are owned by Candace. So looking to be a interesting weekend for those ladies coming up, and hopefully we'll have them both on for next week as my guests as we run through the numbers from that. So anything else you're looking forward to there, Mr. Mitch?
I'm planning to try and see Naked Gun this week. It's high, it's on my list, and it's really hitting everything I want from the film, from the
Yeah,
trailer.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm excited for it. Um, Down the road though, like I think it's September release. I'm excited for Caught Stealing. Um,
That's
so
I've
I'm
been seeing a lot of trailers for that, and it's
hmm.
looking very yes, yes, yes,
So like that's on my list of two C's.
yes, yeah.
I
I believe that
think
is also yours as well, is it not?
it is mine, a little
Yes, yes, yeah,
bias.
yeah. We're gonna wrap up this particular episode and all that sort of thing. I want to thank you, Mitch, for joining me.
Oh,
Congratulations in the top three, because I don't think I've actually been able to tell you yet to your face that you're in the top three, sort of thing.
last
Uh,
time I was on, it was the June 30th, and I was second place. So I've
oh, you were
from
in second.
our last
Oh, were you at the
conversations,
billion?
I've
Were you at
yeah,
the billion at that point? You were at the
no,
billion at that point.
no,
Yeah.
I was
So this is your first.
785 million.
Yes, that's right. That's right. That's right. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. It was. It
So
was. Yeah, yeah. Right, right, right.
yeah, because we
So
had the June of Mitchell, and then I was gone for
yes,
a
and
month.
that yes, exactly. You were practically done. Well, you were gone for all of July.
Yeah,
Like this is your first time back as obviously the 1st of August. So you
yeah,
actually didn't do anything for July, which is kind of
yep.
interesting. All right. So again, thank you, Mitch, for joining me. Audience, thanks for coming along on this journey. And until next time, see you at the box office. You've just been listening to the Summer Movie Draft 2025, a Planet Geek production. Be sure to download, subscribe, share, comment, and review. It most definitely helps us out. If you would like to buy us a coffee, be sure to go to ko-fi.com/planetgeekpod. Any and all donations will go to future improvements of Planet Geek Productions. You can follow Planet Geek Productions on our social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Tumblr, or Letterboxd. Search for Planet Geek Productions. On X, former Twitter, Instagram, or Blue Sky, search for Planet Geek Pod. Or reach out to us via email at planetgeekpod@gmail.com. Once again, thanks for tuning in, and see you at the box office.